Graduates, faculty, staff, and families, it is truly my honor to be the speaker, commencement speaker here today. When I look out and see the graduates, I notice the gold cords, which is something I haven't thought of in a while. I know it's a lot of things, but the gold cords reminded me of my high school graduation. And I don't remember the number. I think the top 20 or 25 of us in the class got the gold cord. And the dean of students, not the dean of academics, the dean of students right before the ceremony asked me who I stole my cord from. See, I was the last to get the cord, and I barely earned it, but I also spent a lot of time in his office. So hopefully that doesn't lose too much credibility for your speaker today. And to see the Kleenex out also reminds me of graduation. I know my mother was crying after many times of crying in the principal's office. She was crying to see her son succeed through that. But today, I don't speak to a group of high school graduates. We speak to a group, if you weren't aware of this, 77 graduates this year with an average age of 32. You guys have traveled a non-traditional path. At one point, 32 to me would have seemed like an older age to earn a degree, and now at age 47, it seems much younger. And a lot of ages seem much younger for that matter. But you guys don't need that level of inspiration. As was said by Monica and Ronald, something got you to the point of coming to Mindstate to grow a career or whatever brought you in the door. You are that inspiration already. So what I want to do this morning is share with you two things that I see in my daily life of the job I presently have. Two ways I see people I most admire live their life. And the two things I see them doing the most is living through humility and through purpose. Now, to be clear, I'm an expert in neither. But I've come, especially recently, over the last year, I've really dedicated more of my time and more of my mornings to getting level set on those two things, humility and purpose. And as I said, not to be perfect in it, but the commitment to be better at it every day. So of course, first to start with humility. Today is a day of celebration, a day you should celebrate yourself, of what you have accomplished. When I say humility, all I'm saying is as you move forward, as you will, remember to stay humble and remember those around you who have helped you to get to that point. So you're finding the balance between what you bring to the table, which is a great deal, and what others bring and help support you in accomplishing your daily tasks. For the last 10 years, I've served as a president of an organization reporting directly to a board of directors. For the last 4.5 years, I've served in that role here at the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce and CEO Council. In that role, I have the privilege of working with around 1,000 local businesses who represent around 70,000 employees in our region. Many of you in the room are those employees that I get to work for. I get to work with the president and CEOs of Caterpillar, Komatsu, the hospitals, colleges, and universities, down to bag boys at grocery stores. It's that down to piece that I need to remain very aware of. See, the down to, I have a 17-year-old son who works as a bag boy, well, now been promoted to works the cash register now, at Hy-Vee. And everything in there in between, you see, can get quite comfortable for me in my role to think I'm better than people. And that's certainly not the case and is never my intention. But all 70,000 of those employees, whether they're leading an organization, working for an organization, have a role in our community. And as we do those roles with humility, we are better for each other. Blessed Mother Teresa said this: if you are humble, neither praise nor disgrace will touch you because you know who you are. And what a good feeling it is to know who you are and see you fit in, see where you fit in, at work, at play, and at home. Sometimes we can get carried away with ourselves. There was a story of a gentleman who was promoted to vice president of his office, of his business, and went around bragging about becoming vice president ad nauseum. After weeks of bragging to his family, to his friends, to his neighbors, his wife was sick and tired of him. And she said to him, Bob, you know, there's a lot of vice presidents in the world today. In fact, there's even a vice president at the grocery store of green beans. And the husband looked at her and said, well, this can't be true. And in his, from his vice president's stance, he called the grocery store. He asked if he could speak to the vice president of green beans. The answer he received was, would you like the vice president of fresh or frozen? There's a lot of us out there working, and a lot of people who think they are more important than their role. We should never fall into that trap. We are important, and we do have our God-given talents, and you're celebrating those and doing you and your family a service by elevating yourself. So I'm not saying don't take pride in that, but remain humble in the work we do. Arrogance and self-promotion are an ugly trait, and humility is truly beautiful. And be purposeful in your work. I don't do a lot of extended reading, but I read a lot of short things. And one of my favorite authors is a Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. And the monk, he has a lot of great quotes, if you look them up. One of my favorites is, "My actions are my only true belongings." My actions are my only true belongings. So your actions at work, your purpose at work, that is your belonging. That's what people view you as. That's what you bring. And you are not here today by accident. There's a lot of stories in this beautiful group of people sitting before me of why you ended up reinvesting and building on your career and taking time away from family and pleasure and dedicating yourself to math and so forth. I opted out of math in college. I found out you could take philosophy and account as math, and I was able to do that. So good job sticking through it. Don't lose sight of that purpose. When we're out in the workplace, one of the many enemies of getting in our heads and taking away from our purpose is gossip, right? I know that, like I said before, I'm not perfect at any of these things. I try to be more aware, but man, how easy it is sometimes at the happy hour on a Friday or lunch break, the gossip or the attention of, hey, did you see so-and-so over here is doing this? Because then we're worried about over there. We don't have to think about ourselves. Try this. A mentor of mine said to me, when you're hearing gossip, when you're hearing something that distracts from your purpose in life, think to yourself, what concern of that is mine? What concern of that is mine? I've said it to myself, stopped myself from responding to such matters that would have taken me into a role of negativity. I've even said it out loud just a couple of times. Now the trick here is to say it without sarcasm, right? Because all the community and our fellow man and woman are a concern of ours. I don't mean it in a dismissive way, but just what concern of that is yours, and how does it take away from your purpose in your career? There's a great story I haven't heard for a long time, but I saw it when I was doing some research for my notes today, and it is about John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy's visit to NASA many years ago. And he saw a janitor mopping the floor. And he asked the janitor, "What's your job here at NASA?" And the janitor replied to him, "I'm helping get a man to the moon." We all have a purpose. And that janitor had his, and he took pride in that. Sometimes, speeches like this write themselves for me. And in addition to that story, I had something happen yesterday. It was a very powerful moment for myself and for my family. I mentioned I have a son who bags groceries, works at the Hy-Vee grocery store. We have a second son who's just 16 months younger, who's trying to get a job. He's trying to get a job at Kroger's. I guess we're trying to surround if I can shop at any grocery store. But you see, what was easy for my first son has been at Hy-Vee for about a year and a half. For my second son, it's not so easy, because my son Alex has autism. And getting prepared for yesterday to go in and meet Kroger's for open interviews was very tough on him. But he had a purpose in it. So we helped him with the online application and everything leading up to the open interviews yesterday. My wife was out of town visiting colleges with my oldest son, so Alex was texting me. Now the open interviews were a window of time between 2 and 4 p.m. And about noon he starts texting me, "When will you be home?" We got to the open interview 2 hours ahead. He was so anxious about it, he had himself prepared. By the time I got home at 1 o'clock, he was in the living room dressed and ready to go to this interview. When we got to the interview, I was so proud and happy to see him go sit in line for the open interviews and what they amounted to, and I went over and found a place in Kroger's to park myself. I told him where I'd be, and about 3 minutes later, he's back, and he's near tears. And I could tell something had happened. Well, what had happened in an open interview at Kroger the online application, the first thing they asked him was, "What's your email address?" He didn't know about the conversation. This kid can remember every score of every NFL football game, but he didn't know his email, and it startled him. He wasn't prepared for that. So he was very upset, but he held himself together, he came over and talked to me, and I said, well, let's level out here a little bit, get back to the interviewer. And Debbie was her name. She could not have been more accommodating, patient. See, Alex, when you look at him and talk to him, he doesn't look like him. There's nothing that looks autistic about him. Not that there is a look anyways, but there's nothing that, other than when Alex starts talking, sometimes it becomes clumsy and confusing, and his words don't match up in his head. So she wrote down the number, just call me an email. On the way home, he tells me, boy, I really stunk at that, something to that effect, really being hard on himself. And what he was dwelling on is, when she asked him what's your work availability, he had in his mind, I can start working tomorrow, and when school starts, I need to work around school and cross country. But those words didn't come out. He said, when school starts, I can't work. He accidentally said that. And he was mortified. So we got home, and there's a lot going on with this. If you have a child or a loved one with autism, you can relate. He had the courage to pick up the phone, to call Debbie with the email, and to clarify with her what he meant by when school starts, we'll have to work around my school or my cross country. It seems like a small thing, but I'm telling you, it was very meaningful to him and to me. And I know to my wife, this is the first time she's hearing this story, because we didn't really cover it all yesterday. But Debbie didn't have to do that. Those people at Kroger didn't have to be as patient. But she had a purpose there. I'm sure it must be frustrating hiring back people at Kroger's, right? There's probably a revolving door. She had patience and kindness with my son, and that was her purpose in our community yesterday, and it meant the world to someone. Now let's hope she hires them so we can really express our gratitude. I will leave you with this, another favorite parable. And you always love the speech when someone leaves you with something because you know the end is near, right? So there were 3 bricklayers, and a traveler coming along watching the bricklayers, and he asked the first bricklayer, "What is it you're doing?" The bricklayer said, "I'm laying bricks." He asked the second bricklayer, "What is it you're doing?" The second bricklayer said, "I'm building a wall." He asked the third bricklayer, "What is it you're doing?" The third bricklayer said, "I'm building a cathedral." You see, the first bricklayer had a job, the second bricklayer had a career, and the third bricklayer has a calling. I ask you to live your calling with your newly earned degrees. Congratulations. God bless you and your family.